Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, December 26th, 2024, the day after Christmas. I hope everybody who celebrates had a great time with their family and friends yesterday, or whatever you wanted to do. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here. On Christmas Eve, probably couldn't have worked out any better. It really kind of just blew me away. But that kind of is how every morning is when I come back to review the price action. So let's take a look here on Tuesday of this week, on Christmas Eve. We had a half day. However, when we came in that morning, I did warn everybody that when we come into these low volume holiday trading markets, a lot of times they just melt up or they start to melt down, right? And they just kind of go quite literally in one direction with shallow pullbacks. And I told everybody would not be surprised if we got one of those typical pushes inches higher and higher and higher. And sure enough, as you can see, here is how Christmas Eve went, right? I'll try to get the whole panel in. So this is how the entire day went. We were together here for Christmas Eve morning, and we kind of did some I just basically called a couple rotations in the market here. So let's take a look and see. When we came into the open, the first thing we talked about was seeing price holding from the previous daily high with a bullish divergence. And I said that this might be a good spot to try and jump in. This very well could be the low of the day for all we know. And as you can see, if you did buy, you took on less than a point of risk if you got in on that little tiny pullback right there. And then you could have pretty much rode the market all the way to the end of the day, right? So there you have it right out of the open. Very textbook type of setup, pull back into a major roadmap level, getting divergence on a day where we did kind of expect a melt up, right? Or a melt down if it was going to trend that way. But it melted up, right? We just kept pushing to new highs in comparison to that day before. And we just had a beautiful rally. Now, as you guys know, I did not get in the market here. I kind of kicked myself for not giving it a shot. But I did get in right here. And we talked about it right as it pulled back into that fast moving average. And I told you, here we are. We're breaking out to the upside. We're pulling back into the fast moving average in a day that very well is going to just be a melt up. And here's our first opportunity at 52.75 to get in. I went ahead and entered. And what did it pull back to? 51.5, right? We got a point and a quarter through the fast moving average. And then the whole thing took off from there, right? So 2 trade calls within the first couple minutes of the open, nearly no risk. And this market pushed nearly 30, 40, maybe 50 points higher by the end of the day, right? So let's also look at some of the other notable stuff that happened in here. On the way up, you also did have this opportunity to go ahead and pull back to that first roadmap level as this started to launch back out, right? So there was a long opportunity there with, again, basically no risk, pretty incredible, and then just kept going. So on the way up, all these pullbacks into the fast moving average worked out great. On this pullback, as we were getting all the way back up through all this, I did see we were pulling back, but I noticed that we also had my roadmap level at 62 here. And I just kind of put some blind faith in our levels because we do see them stair step up. And I gave it a shot as it pulled back. I actually just put a limit order in at 62 here. And this got really extreme as we came into it, which made me more confident it was going to bounce. And sure enough, I don't even think I took any risk. Oh, I guess I did. So it popped through by less than a point, right? And then from there, was able to get a beautiful trade to the upside again from there. Notice on the way up, we came right to the back end of that next roadmap level, gave it a kiss to the tick, and got the pullback. So if you did try to fade at some of these levels, even though we were in a melt up situation that you don't want to fade that, but you could have actually gotten in zero risk and got yourself a pullback to the fast moving average, or even held on for that 5-point pullback. So that was cool. And then we held it and held it for these two tests. But then on the pullback there, you can see the hold of the fast moving average. And then it went ahead and kept going. Came all the way up, petered out once again, basically right at the next roadmap level. Not to the tick in this case. Did go through by 2 points. Petered out and then tried to push higher. And then we got this beautiful pullback right in. And I was watching this, and I did hold off on putting another trade on, but I should have taken it, right? Because we got a beautiful big divergence as they tested the 200, right? It put an order in right there, would have taken on 1 point of risk, and then it kept going, right? So great opportunity there. And then there's that second test of the low that just was almost like another opportunity to add to your position, right? Came up, and then the next major failure point was our roadmap level once again. So it pulled back and then bounced and used the roadmap level below that as the support, right? And then from there we continued melting up and melting up. You can see again we rejected off the same roadmap level almost to the tick again and pulled back, and they held. What do you know? The 200 moving average. It's like, just feel like all I do is just show you the same things happen over and over again. So held from there, and then we went ahead and pushed all the way up to the high of the day, getting through the previous resistance, which was our roadmap level, right? And then got all the way up, and interestingly enough, got through the next roadmap level, and then pulled back to it and kissed it 3 times here. Once, twice, and 3 times in each case. You should have actually been able to get 5 points out of it, right? First test gave you 5, maybe that second one gave you 3 or 4, and then it was the end of the day. So right at the end of the day, you got another opportunity to get almost a 5-point winner off of it. So pretty crazy. And that what second test there gave you that beautiful bullish divergence. If you were watching this on Christmas Eve at 1:15 in the afternoon or whatever it was there. So on the East Coast. So again, just zooming out and looking at all the major rotations and all of these beautiful entries, Christmas Eve turned out to be a beautiful Christmas gift for anyone who is here trading with us. So that is the review. And then it just blows me away because I came home after a little Christmas party last night to see that we pulled back in our Globex session on Christmas night right to the roadmap level, to the tick, only to bounce right up to the next roadmap level and fell 2 ticks in front. And then from there, the overnight high 2 ticks in front of that next roadmap level, right? And now here we are pulling back. So on that pullback now, if you look, so bounces off the roadmap level, rejects 2 ticks in front of the next one, and now we've been in a pullback up until they've come into, and actually if you look, they did come right into the next roadmap level here and get a bounce. There just wasn't enough strength to go ahead and break for some nice 10, 20 point pop. So it held from there and then came down, and now look at what's happening right in between the next 2 roadmap levels. Basically bouncing back and forth on either side almost to the tick. So that is our review for Christmas Eve, Christmas night, and now coming into the day after Christmas. So let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames